Item 5, public hearings, appeals, presentation of recognitions and awards. 5A, presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding the 2019 recycling pilot program. Lee Zirk.
Chairman, authority members, Lee Zirk, General Services Director. On December 17, the authority authorized city staff to conduct 2 recycling pilot projects as recommended from the Citizens Recycling Committee. So it's my pleasure tonight to give you an update on where we're at in that process. After approval to move forward from February until now, you can see that some of the items that we have got completed thus far. We've been working with our refuse and recycling consultant, GBB, and through them we have selected a firm to do the public relations, which is going to include printed materials, education, and things to help educate the pilot residents. I want to make a note that that PR firm is also a subcontractor of our consultant, GBB. Additionally, the cart specifications for both the trash and the recycling carts have been written. The bids have been let, and just a little while ago on the consent agenda, you approved the actual purchase of those carts. Also, the tippers, the mechanism that goes on the back of the truck to actually tip the carts have been acquired. We're working through the fleet management division, and those have been installed on one truck, and we're working on getting them installed on another 2 other trucks. Also, we have established the pilot project areas, and we'll discuss that a little bit later on in a future slide. We also held a kickoff meeting in September. That'll be the next slide. We'll talk a little bit about what happened there. And the last bit on real recycling is voluntary. I want to reiterate the fact that while we are working through this process, we're keeping focus that we want to make sure that the pilot residents understand that recycling is not mandatory. It's their choice whether or not they want to recycle and put that card out. So we will be keeping that in mind as we move through this process. So during the kickoff meeting, the first day, which was September 5th, staff, GBB, our consultant, and American Way sat down together to talk about the type of materials that are likely going to be recycled under this pilot project. And that will be on a future slide. We'll discuss that a little bit. Also, we spent quite a bit of time on messaging, how he does his messaging, and also what our contract might look like. The next day, staff met with GBB, our consultant, Propeller Communications, which is a PR firm, and also Shepherd Research, which is going to do a lot of the polling and finding out, getting the pulse of our citizens about what's happening during that pilot project. So during that meeting, Propeller Communications talked to us about their ideas. We talked to them about our ideas, and they're going to be working to develop a recycling and media campaign going forward. Also, we have looked at the January 24th and 25th as a start date for this project, which means the week of October 15th, we would like to get the initial written communication out to the residents within that pilot project area, which include information about details and what the program is going to be about. Following that, in November, each of the pilot areas, we will hold an open house to discuss the goals and expectations and provide any additional information homeowners may need during that open house meeting. And of course, during the pilot project, while it's going on, Shepherd Research will be reaching out to the residents to survey them, ask questions, get information which we can later on use on a frequent basis that we can use during the pilot project to help us make some critical adjustments if need be. So even though we got quite a few things, the next 3 months, we still have quite a bit left to accomplish. In our operations and call center, we need to make sure that that staff is educated and has the material so that when they get calls from the residents, that we'll be able to answer their questions, answer them the same, and answer them correctly. Also, website planning. We've got to get a website together, working with the PR company in Crystal. Will be putting some website information so that they can digitally get the information that they want and need. In November, GBB will be providing us a collection expert, which is going to work with our refuse queues to get them familiar with carts and how that system works because we've never worked with it. Not that they can't, but it's very helpful that we can become very familiar with it, so when we get there, we're hitting the ground running. Also, we hope to have a contract with American Waste for the recyclable processing on or about December 1st for your consideration and approval. Route planning is something that I want to touch on. We do have to plan the routes, but I did want to make sure that you all understood that we are going to be using the same crew for the pilot project. So what this means is the crew and driver that picks up the recycling in pilot project area 1 is going to be the same crew that picks up the pilot project in area 2. That way each area is going to experience the same level of service and people on their recyclables, and likewise for trash as well. Also, we have to work, and we'll be working with our consultant on developing some collection policies that need to be established so that we know how to deal with different things that occur with the carts, things that are sent out the cart, all those different areas, as well as managing our customers, because they're going to have problems and questions, and we need to make sure we know we're going to how to address them ahead of time. Also, of course, cart procurement, we took the first step today to actually get them ordered. We still have to talk about the in-mold label that's going to have the pictorial instructions on the top. We'll talk about that in another slide. And of course, the city logo on the sides. Once we get that done, and we get the carts ordered, and lastly, to actually get them delivered in time about a week before the start of the pilot project. So this slide here, a couple of things. Let me draw your attention to the bottom there, the recycle items. This was the result of the meeting that we had with American Waste. What we're looking at and what they're focusing on right now is glass bottles and jars, aluminum and steel cans, paper, cardboard, plastic bottles, jars, and tubs. But I do want to make a note that although this list is pretty firm right now, it might be adjusted slightly depending on the ending contract that we have with American Waste. Also, right above that, you'll see a sample of an IML, an in-mold label. And that's a label that's going to go on the top of the lid of the recycling cart. It can't be removed. It's part of the lid. And this actually comes from American Waste. They've been very successful with it. We thought it was a good idea. So right now, our PR firm has that design, and they're working to give it a broken arrow twist and make that also as part of our trash cart when we place the order for the recycle cart, rather. All right, next I want to touch upon the pilot project areas. Here you see kind of a bird's eye view of the city of Broken Arrow. The areas in red are what you see as the 2 pilot projects. Notice we got one in the north and one in the south. Now I want to point out that when we selected these areas, we had some very specific things in mind that we wanted to accomplish. One is we wanted to have one in the north and one in the south. The other is we wanted to have each pilot project area be a part of an already existing refuse route. Thirdly, we wanted to make sure that each area contained a good cross-section of Broken Arrow homes, whether entry-level, mid-level, and higher-level homes, so that each area was roughly equivalent to one another so that we could compare them. So let me move in first on the north route and get a closer view of what might be in there. So here you have the pilot project area for Thursday. Thursday would be that pickup day. Note that it's a 2-cart system. They're going to get one refuse cart. They're going to get one recycling cart. This happens to be in Route 8 on the north end. It has 579 homes in it. It happens to be in Ward 2. You can see some of the subdivisions it includes is Vandiver Trails, Bristol Ponds, and part of Stacy Lynn East. The south end, which will be collected on Friday, will be a 1-cart system. Here they will just get a recycling cart, and then they'll put their trash out in the normal manner, and we'll collect it up in the normal manner. This happens to be on Route 5 in the south, and it happens to be in Ward 3 and consists of 514 homes. Some of the subdivisions in there include Wood Meadow, Southtown Estates, the Meadows at Indian Springs, and Suburban Estates. So with that being said, we have got a lot planned and going. We still have a lot to do, but I think we're making good progress, and we're going to keep plugging forward until we get it done. With that, I'd like to see if you have any questions, and I'll do my very best to try to answer them.
Okay, any questions, Lee?
One question is comment that you included in that, the recyclables, glass bottles and jars. And do they feel like that will sustain, that glass bottles and jars?
At the
'Cause it's
present
questionable.
time, American Waste is accepting glass, and they are set up to recover that, and they have a market for it.
That's good.
Mhm.
And then the second one, the further south one, so it's going to have the one cart, and
Yes.
they'll have the trash bags?
Right.
They provide their own trash bags, is that
Yes,
correct?
well, our trash bag distribution is going on right now, so they are already going to have the bags in their possession.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right.
So with the, I know China's not taking mixed paper now, so that's causing the price of paper to go up as far as people are having to sell it. You think we're still going to be able to do mixed papers? American Waste is still going to take mixed
At the
paper?
present time, we are. I know that as a recycler, contamination is the biggest part of the problem. And so part of our messaging and part of what we're going to learn in this pilot project, one, we're going to find out what our contamination rate is. And we're going to also find out what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, and what possibly we could do to reduce our contamination going forward if we decide to go citywide.
In addition to American Waste, has there been consultation with the Met, because the glass issue, I'm getting conflicting reports on that. As the city's trustee to the Met, there's been discussion about that topic. Has there been consultations with the Met in that regard as
No,
well?
sir, there have not, but we
Okay.
can certainly reach out to the Met and find out what their take is on that. Yes, sir.
So you plan on having a organizational meeting with the areas that will be served by this, so citizens can come and ask questions or better
Yes,
understand?
it's primarily going to be focused for the pilot residents. We will
Understand,
advertise
no,
to them.
that's what I mean.
Yes, yes. We'll have an open forum where they can come and talk to us. We'll answer questions. We'll have a sample cart and things like that for them to take a look at and feel, touch.
This is just a little thing, but on the sticker that goes on top,
Yes.
it seems like the area that said no, it said always remember at top. Mm-hmm. And I know there is a line through those items, but
Right.
it's almost like it needs to say, do not place these items, or,
Well-
I don't know, something more than just.
Yeah, if I go
It's like,
back
always
to
remember,
that,
it's
we,
like-
we had some discussions, because where it says always remember, we had actually changed that because the American Waste version just says no.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to be a little more positive and saying, remember, don't include
Don't
these things.
put those in there.
We didn't want to have the big negative.
Maybe put an X instead of just a line.
Well, okay,
I noticed too, it's once a week pickup, whichever
Yes.
day. These particular ones are going to be on Thursday and
Thursday
Friday.
and Friday.
And that emulates what that came from the committee, was it go from 2 to 1 once a week pickup.
yes, sir.
I just want to mention to the council members is that I felt it was important that we have meetings with those in the area. Obviously, there's been a lot of interest in recycling over the last couple of years, and our focus is to talk to the residents that are part of the program. However, to make sure that there isn't any misunderstandings or to address any issues, misinformation that's out there, we will make the public aware about the programs and exactly what we're planning on doing. A lot of folks have called and want to know, they want to be a part of the program. How can they be a part of the pilot program? And we want to make sure that they're aware of this. But the focus is to get the feedback from those that are participating, so we can bring a good recommendation with good data to the city council next spring. So we'll do a citywide deal, but we will also make sure we invite everyone that's in the pilot program. But I think the package of information that Russell and Lee and the team has put together is very informative. So if you have any comments about content, you're reading it one way, we may be looking at another, let us know, because we want to make sure that what we put it together. If you see it differently, let us know, and we'll update it. And so we want everybody to hopefully attend the meeting and answer their questions and feel like they're a part of this process. And hopefully those that don't want to participate, convince them that to do, because we need their feedback. We need their involvement in this, so we can say that we had a strong response and participation in both of the pilots.
So you have a kickoff meeting, will you have a wrap-up meeting with them, or are you just going to ask them, like at the kickoff meeting, to be interactive with you with their thoughts and?
Well, we haven't discussed that to date. However, I do know that once a pilot project, during the actual pilot project, we're going to be measuring, weighing, counting, all sorts of things. But when the pilot project's over, we're still going to be carrying on. The residents will not know that we're not doing all the specific measurements that we have during the pilot project. So whether or not that will be necessary to have a wrap-up meeting, because they're not going to experience any change in service until we make a further decision.
And once those, the results of the pilot programs will be presented back to the recycling committee?
Yes, and
for their
yourself
input
as an
well?
authority,
Okay.
yes.
Well, I know how much time and effort you all have spent on this to
Mm-hmm.
make it happen, and I personally appreciate that, because I know it's kind of having a new ball of wax, so well done in that regard.
Well, I want to say I had a good conversation with Bill Cade yesterday. He's in the audience, and he says his guys are ready to rock and roll. They're ready to move forward with this. They're excited about it. They're learning the routeware and realizing that is a beneficial. So operationally, I think Lee's done an outstanding job, and Bill as well. I just want to thank both of them for getting us to this point, and looking forward to getting started.
And I likewise, I do too, and I know, quoting the city manager, he might have changed his mind by now, but one of his quotes was that the present system is not sustainable, and I think the committee that you're looking at, the recycling committee, knows that, so trying to come up with something that is sustainable, and so we're looking for it too. Do you need a motion from us, or are you just continuing on, or what's the pleasure?
I think this was just a presentation, right?
Presentation.
You don't need anything?
Unless you want to give us some further direction. Other than that, we're gonna keep plugging along with your original directive to begin 2 pilot projects.
This is
We'll
really
keep you
just let the
informed.
council know. I think we're being consistent with what your direction was, and if there's not any questions, then we're going to go forward accordingly.
Good.
All right, thank you. We're excited
Thank you.
to get this moving along.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lee.